G'day guys, it's Willow. Today I'm just doing a quick little recipe. I'm just going to bring you along for the ride. Today I'm going to make some pikelets. When I was little I used to call them pikelets, so we're going to make some pikelets today. So this is kind of a little bit of a shelf-stable meal really, because I haven't got any milk, so I'm using dehydrated milk powder. And everything is pretty much what I had in the cupboard. First I'm going to do the powdered milk. I'm going to reconstitute it. So it calls for 3/4 of a cup or 185 mils of milk, which is going to be about 2 spoons. Oh, when you get it all in the mug it kind of helps. Okay, done. Then we're also going to need 1 cup of flour, or 150 grams. This is self-raising flour. Tablespoon of caster sugar. I don't have caster sugar. I'm like Mrs. Wolfie. I use raw sugar. About the only thing that I really use white sugar for is if I'm making pavlovas or meringues. And of course I'd have to get a spoon that doesn't fit. Then you've got your milk and your egg. That'll do. Can you see what I'm doing there? Move you a little bit close. Come a little bit closer. Okay, now you're looking at it. So now just tip your milk and your egg in with your batter. Mix it together. Now because I have used raw sugar and it's a bigger granule than caster sugar, I'm going to let the batter sit for about 10 or 15 minutes to help dissolve the sugar, and then give it another mix, and then we'll come back and we'll fry it off. So while I was waiting for the sugar, I washed up my mess, and I went and got this little monster from out in his little house, and I thought, oh, I'll go for a walk up the back of the yard and see how the tomatoes are going. Well, overnight they've done this. 24 hours ago I had been out and picked some of the ones that were semi-ripe, that were kind of a bit like this, still a little bit under, and I got about maybe 3 or 4 pounds, and I reckon there's probably another 2 pounds I think sitting there. Check this little monster out. Here's a decent one. There's probably a good 20 or 30 more that are like that size or bigger. So I did some picking. There's, I reckon there's probably about 30 or 40 pounds more of tomatoes to pick, and that's just in the ones that I grew. That's not including my my mother-in-law's. So looks like when I've finished playing with my pikelets, I'm going to cut these up and pop them in the freezer ready for sauce, because we still have 3 or 4 pound that are ripening, and I'm going to show you how I ripen those. Okay, I have a little rack, And these were all green, or not green, but these were all underripe, like this. They were sort of the orangey greens. They're just starting to turn. And if you put an apple, see, I've got an apple here. If you stick an apple next to them in a cool, dark place, even in a paper bag, grab yourself a brown paper bag, stick an apple in it, and your tomatoes that aren't quite ripe, and that will ripen them up for you, and it won't make them taste floury or have a bitter taste, or make them, you know, just taste yucky. So these are the ones that aren't quite ripe. I'm going to sit down here with my apple, and that's what I picked yesterday afternoon. Most of those were ripe, but there was probably half a dozen that were like the two that I've just put next to the apple. So I'll swap some of these over, some of the ones that are a little bit softer than the ones I've just picked. And we'll put them in the freezer ready for sauce so that they don't waste. Okay, let's go and get some pikelets on the go. Okie dokie. And now I've played with the tomatoes and washed my hands. It's been about 20 minutes. It's a kind of, I don't know whether you can see that, guys, or not. There's my butter over there. This is the thickness or thinness of my batter. So now I'll just move these over a bit. You see in that there pan, I'm just going to throw in a bit of butter. My pan's been warming up for a little while. Throw yourself in a bit of batter. Oh yes, that's the cat. That's because Daddy's not home. He's calling out for him. If you can hear him, that is. When bubbles start to form on this side, you start seeing little bubbles and holes form on the top of your batter. When that happens, it means the other side's done, and just flip him over. Okay, let's have a look at this. Done. Little bit more butter. Whiz bang it around. And then start all over again. And then just hit the repeat button until all the mixture's gone or you get bored of it. Listen, Purr Monster, you won't eat it. It's not if you could see the look on this cat's face. He thinks he's been hard done by. It's not cream. You think everything that's in a container is cream. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this until we're done, and I'll come back and do a taste test. Okie dokie, there's two little ones done. And just put a little bit of butter on them. And then taking a while. This is a little bit of maple syrup. Me, I'd prefer honey, but nothing wrong with a little touch of America. Yummy. That's good. Now, I know some people I know would have 3 or 4 of those with ice cream and strawberries and maple syrup and whatever else they could find to put on top of it. But I like them just plain. Little bit of butter, even just a sprinkle of sugar and lemon juice. That's really nice too. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Happy prepping. I'll show you the tomatoes when I'm done. Okay. Those pikelets were pretty yummy. I only ended up having 3 and I was full because they're quite filling. The leftover batter, if you have any batter that's left over and you think, oh, what am I going to do with that? Pop it in the fridge. It will last in the fridge for 2 or 3 days, as long as your eggs are fresh and your milk is fresh. Well, my milk was dehydrated, so with dehydrated milk I'd probably just leave it in there for maybe 2 days. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this because, I mean, everybody knows how to cut a tomato. I'll just pull my stalk out. Pop it in the bowl and then cut it up. Look at that. Yum, yum. Beautiful little tomato. And if you want, run your knife along the inside of that little membrane. Scoop out some seeds. Pop them on a piece of paper towel or a piece of what do you call it, baking paper, greaseproof paper, baked paper, whatever you wish to call it. Lay them out and you'll have seeds for next season when they dry out. Just name them, what sort of seeds they are, and date them the year that you I always date the year that the seeds are harvested. So any seeds that I harvest this year will have 2014 ready for next year's season. Sometimes tomatoes, depending, well, any seed really, depending on how they've been cultivated and grown and treated and all that sort of stuff, will depend on whether they will last more than 1 season. But I'm just going to cut these up, pop them in the Ziploc bag and get to it. Stick them in the freezer. I'm freezing them because I'm at the end of my fortnight now where I end up going back to work, and of course the tomatoes would have to ripen at the end of my days off. So hopefully by maybe this time next fortnight I will be making some sauce. And if I have enough to make the amount that I want to make, I'll bring you guys along for the ride. So I'll go ahead and cut these up and I'll show you what the bag looks like at the end. Okay, so I've got a bigger tomato for me buck. So these are sort of 1 kilo bags, which is 2.2 pounds. 1 kilo equals 2.2 pounds. I kind of needed to upgrade and use 2 bags. So I reckon there's probably only about maybe 2.5 pounds in there though, because I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of room for them to spread out, so that when I defrost them to do my tomato relish, tomato chutney, which is my great-grandmother's recipe, they won't take very long to defrost. So I'm going to now lay them on a tray in the freezer, and when they're frozen I'll stand them upright, which is the same as what I've done with the sweet potato. Stand them upright and stack them like books so that there is more room in the freezer. Well, I'll see what tomorrow brings. I might be doing this again tomorrow. Anyhow, thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Happy prepping. Just before you go, I thought I'd show you what I'd done. So here's my sweet potato that I have started. And there's my tomatoes laying there. There's one there and there's one under there. So when they freeze up, I'll stand them upright if they'll fit. Otherwise, I'll just lay them flat. Now over the back here, these are all things that I've got going. This is lamb stock, and this little one down here on the bottom is a beef stock for a couple of hours, and I've reduced them. This is kind of like a thick jelly now. Of course now it's frozen, but when it defrosts it's actually like a thick jelly. So when I get more than one day off in a row where I can spend time at the little hideout, I will finish off a lot of videos that I have, which include the lamb and the beef stock, making beef stock powder like I've seen Mrs. Wolfie make, and Bear Prepper, I've seen her make one, and I think Genius in Exile, I think she also had one, unless I'm thinking of somebody else. Anyhow, there's a few people that have done stocks and all that sort of stuff, and I'd rather have the fresh, real stuff and dehydrate it myself than have the processed stuff. So these are my sweet potatoes. I had about four or six huge sweet potatoes that was on special, and I'm going to dehydrate these as well and turn them into a powder. So I have a lot coming up. I just need to not work. I'll get to it when I can. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There's plenty more to come. See you later.